Hello everybody, you are Supreme Toys here, and today we'll be doing another review. This time we'll be covering the Masters of the Universe Origins ROTON for the 40th anniversary. I had a ROTON as a kid. The vintage ROTON was one of my favorite Masters toys. So when they announced this one, I was really excited. Let's see if we can get a close-up shot of this. I'll have to pick the camera up for this because the box is so big. The box art. I love the box art for the Origins line. They're really going at it, putting all kinds of little details. We got Skeletor here, blasting away. He's just busting through tree stumps and everything. Got some explosions in the background. They always put a lot of little Easter eggs on the box art. For instance, here we got Cobra Khan crawling around inside of a cliffside, and a little dragon dinosaur. Sorry for the glare and the light. On the front here we have this box art, which shows the ROTON in its model kit style. It has the face, the different face, and the roll cage. That was exclusive to the vintage model kit, which I had no idea they had the model kits until I was an adult. And that's what makes this so special. The original ROTON was just this, the machine, and then of course it would have its two little blaster guns on each side. But they went the extra mile and they included the extra accessories, the little face, and I believe up under the box is the roll cage, so that you could remake the actual model kit version of the ROTON, which I think is pretty darn awesome. As cool as that is, that means a lot of people are probably going to have to buy two so they can have a representation for each one. It's funny how it says modern posing on this box, and I don't think there's anything modern about this. I'm pretty sure it's just a straight redo, probably of the mechanism too, of the ROTON from the 1980s. I have the ROTON still, but I do not have it here. I believe it's still in storage at my parents' house. I'll have to try and get that out one day. The box art continues with its Easter eggs. We got a He-Man here on the Road Ripper. I had a Road Ripper too. It was not my favorite Masters vehicle by any shot. I think that would go to the Bashosaurus. And of course we have one of the three towers from the Eternia playset, the Snake Tower. Turn it around to the other side. And here we have Screech. I had Screech and Zoar. The vintage Screech and Zoar are very notorious for their feet breaking off. I hope that doesn't continue with the Origins Screech and Zoar when they come out. Teela, another Teela variant is coming out packed in with Zoar, so I look forward to seeing that. Nothing special on the bottom, just another giant burst and some legalese. Let's turn around and look at the back. Beautiful cross-sell art. Beautiful cross-sell art. They really knew what they were doing. If you saw my retro collection Star Wars reviews, you'll know that my biggest nitpick was that Hasbro failed to do the vintage style cross-sell art on the back of the card backs, and Mattel just gets it. Their design team is on point with this collection. They put even the classics packaging to shame, because the classics, Motu Classics packaging was really just standard packaging. I never liked it. It was easy to open those figures, but these Origins figures make it very difficult. As you can see, it gives you the instructions. Oh, you put the turrets in the peg holes, you put the roll cage on top, or you put the face plate on. Very simple. Anybody could understand it. And in this wave, we got the ROTON. We've got 2000X He-Man, which is pretty awesome, with a 2000X Skeletor. Comes with his 2000X sword. Both of them come with their 2000X swords, in fact. We got Pighead which is from the Rulers of the Sun series that was basically a Masters ripoff from the 80s, but it has grown in popularity over the last few years in the collector community for vintage Masters, because a lot of the, I can't say they're knockoffs, but they certainly do steal that aesthetic to capitalize on it. The Rulers of the Sun figures are actually really nice. I remember seeing some in person as a kid, but you know, they weren't worth what they're worth today. So it was easy to be like, oh, that's just a bootleg, and you pass it up. And I remember doing that with countless knockoff Masters toy lines at flea markets and yard sales growing up. If it wasn't a Masters or it wasn't cool enough, I usually didn't buy it. And as an adult, I really wish I would have picked up everything I saw when I saw it. But that's how life is. It's not that big a deal. And what I love the most is I cannot wait to get this Mantana. I pre-ordered this Mantana from Big Bad Toy Store. He's currently in stock. So as soon as I ship my pile of loot, I'll be getting all of these guys. Now, as big and beautiful as this packaging is, I can't keep it. This is not something I can leave in package. With the size of my collection, it would just kill my space. And I honestly don't want to. I've opened all of my Origins stuff except for a few con exclusives, which I've found it difficult to open because of how much better the packaging is even compared to this. And this is really good packaging. It showcases the toy perfectly. You see what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get. It's none of that new Hasbro windowless nonsense that most of us don't care for. And I can't really keep the box either. So once I open it, I'm going to have to throw most of it away. And I've been doing that with the larger vehicles and playsets that the Origins line has been making. Except I usually cut this back art off right here, and I'll keep as much as I can. And I'll keep the back cross-sell. But the rest of it, even if there's art on the side that I like, or the front, I really like this art, I'm going to have to throw it away. I do not have the space to keep everything. And most packaging I wind up throwing away, regardless of how nice it looks. But this art is just too compelling to just throw in the trash right away. That being said, let's go ahead and pop this guy out and see how much trouble it's going to take to remove him from the box. It's got a piece of tape on the top, piece of tape on the bottom. That's simple enough. 1, 2, 3 flaps. Then we can pull the cardboard backing out. Box is empty. We'll set that to the side. The roll cage was in fact stored up under this lower compartment. We'll set that to the side for now. Get a closer look up at the figure. This is so much shinier than I remember the vintage one being. I think the vintage one was a lot more of a matte plastic. Now, this is cool. I like this. The land shark was secured solidly in the package. They did not use zip ties. They did not use tape. Their engineering team created these little posts that go into the cardboard and peg into the body of the toy. So they sort of like just rotate and pull out. I know that's probably a little bit more expensive for the packaging team to create, but it makes removing these things so much easier. I think it's brilliant. Look at that. Even a kid can do this. You don't have to worry about twist ties, tape, pegs, and it comes right out just like that. Just like that. That's amazing. That's just clever design. They fit into this little slot here and then they twist shut. That's so cool. I know there's people out there who are probably going to keep these because they feel like it's part of the toy. But this is just part of the packaging. It is literally trash. Now looking at the Roton head on. Now that he's out of the package, we can tilt the camera down. That package was huge. One thing I don't like right out of the gate with this one, these eyes are stickers. I'm okay with it, but all of these panels are decals. I'm not a fan of decals anymore because depending on how you store them, the temperature, whether it's cold or hot, if there's a moisture leak or something, your kid's gonna play with them, all these decals are gonna come off. Every single one of them. They're gonna get worn and they're gonna come off. Your kid might even want to peel them off. I really wish they would have been tampoed. I think tampo is a superior technology now. It can be print accurate just like this. I don't know if they could have done it inside these inset grooves, but they definitely should have been able to do it with the eyes. Look around the face. There are these holes right here. I don't like these holes, but I believe that these are there to fasten the second mask all over the face. The gloss of the plastic kind of makes it difficult to see the details, like these giant teeth on the front. But there is a lot of detail sculpted into this, but it's very vintage inspired. I really wish I had my vintage Roton here so that I could compare it, but from memory, it's pretty spot on in size as well as construction. One thing I do know that is new is the vintage Roton did not have these handles on it, I believe. I could be wrong. Mine might not have had them when I was growing up. These pegs right here are where the turrets plug in. And I also don't remember it being a seat like this with a drop down for the feet. I could be wrong. Again, I really wish I had it with me. There are more peg holes right here and here. And I guess if you take the turrets off, if you need to, you might not need to. Oh, I see. The peg holes are right here and here. And that's for the roll cage to peg into place. Now, this sounds, just from the plastic rolling around, it sounds just like I remember the vintage Roton sounding. Let's see if its action feature is the same. Oh, yes. Sounds like a saw blade. I love that. That is just absolutely fun. I remember rolling my vintage Roton around on the floor and, pretending it was a real saw blade. It makes these saw blade sounds, and I believe the mechanism that does that sound is basically just these little plastic fins on the inside that as they roll by, they click against little plastic ridges. And it's such a simple design. I don't remember if the vintage one had 3 wheels. It probably did. But this is just perfect. I love this. I haven't even finished unboxing it yet, really, and I'm just enamored by it. So let's see here. Let me take this roll cage out. This is nice. It's got a little bit of give to it. That's good. I always worry about these types of things when they have these thin little pegs on the sides that you peg in, because depending on how tight they are, they tend to, over time and play, break. So let's see, it should peg right in. It's hard to line up, but there you go. I'm missing the pegs on the front. Peg holes. Ah, there we go. Now, that's pretty cool. That looks okay. I definitely won't be displaying it like that because the model kit was not what I had. Here's the face mask. It's interesting design. It's a lot. It's so much different. Like once you put the roll cage and the face mask over it, it's really a different vehicle. It really is. It's reminiscent, but it's not the one I had as a kid. It's okay. I don't care for it. I know there's somebody out there who loves it. I love that they included it. I love that that's an option for the price. I believe this was $33, roughly. For the price, the fact that they give you extra parts is wonderful. I appreciate that. I mean, not to keep going back to the Batwing fiasco, but the Batwing was $30. It did not come with extra parts. It did not come with a figure, and every single one of them I've bought has broken. This is a sturdy, high-quality product. It's fun. I can sit here and do this all day. Let's see. Let me get these turrets out real quick. They're not too difficult to remove. They have those little plastic bands that hold the things in. Usually you have to clip them out, but I was able to just push them out without any trouble. I'll set the rest to the side. These guns are a lot different than the vintage guns. I can tell that right away. I don't even need it in front of me. Because I had taken the guns off of my Roton as a kid, and the vintage ones have this split, and it's a larger, thicker peg, and they kind of like pop and clip into place, so you can't really remove them easily, but you could pull them out. And I had some of the Leonard Corp toys when I was growing up, and I remember kit bashing them into weird cyborg creatures. So I had one guy that had this turret where his waist was, where instead of a pelvis and legs, he had this turret. So he'd be like a floating dude. I still have him somewhere. I wish I could pull him out readily to show you guys how ridiculous it is. But it's definitely a softer plastic. I remember the original ones were a lot firmer. And I also remember the originals being a little bit more detailed. These seem a little flat in comparison. But that's alright. I'm not worried about that. Let's take this roll cage off. They slip into place very easily. I do have an issue right away. It's a big concern. This is a softer, as I mentioned, this is a softer plastic. Now there's not a lot of give. Like once you peg them into place, they're very tight. So if your kid pushes them all the way in place and tries to move them, over time I can see these pegs breaking off and just twisting off with play. That's probably the only issue I've seen so far. But if you just like set them in, they're fine. I'll push mine in because I know better. And I won't be grabbing them and twisting them around. I want to see if the roll cage fits on with the guns. They do. It's really difficult to get those pegs on the front lined up. Everything lines up. It's really full armored. Full armor mode. That's pretty cool. Alright, so let's see what a figure looks like inside of the vehicle. How well they fit. I got my Rulers of the Sun Sunman here. This is the retail version. Take these masks off. Yeah, that's much better. You can't. These eyes in that face have nothing in comparison to that solid black on red with the veins in the eyes. I love the veins in the eyes. The original one was a little bit more veiny, if I recall. Let's see how Sunman fits in here. Most of these guys are the same buck body and everything. He's not wanting to sit down very well. He's supposed to be superior articulation. Yeah, he's good. And he grabs onto those handles. He grabs onto those handles very easily. That was actually surprising. Here we got Sunman driving a Roton. Now, I'm pretty sure this happened back in the day. Some kid had a Rulers of the Sun Sunman figure, and he played with his masters with them. I want to see if the roll cage actually fits with a figure. Because I can imagine they may have overlooked something, but no, well, how about that? It's perfect. It doesn't even hit his head. They really took a lot into consideration when designing this. Put the face on. That easy. I won't be displaying mine with either the roll cage or the faceplate, of course. But yeah, that's pretty great. Let's see. Sunman's cool, but let's see how Horde Trooper fits in there. This is the retail version of the Horde Trooper. He'll be raising his fist in the air like you just don't care. He fits in there well. His arms are a little bit shorter than your average guy. A little bit more difficult to hold the handle, and his other hand's a fist, so he can't hold it with that one. But yeah, that looks good. Horde Troopers look really good in here. Now, I don't know if he's any taller. His hand's in the way. Put his hand outside the door. Yeah, there we go. I'm still having a hard time lining up those front pegs. There, yeah. Not hitting his head. Works. Horde Trooper looks good in this. Really fits his color scheme. I'm loving this. This Roton is... This Roton's amazing. It's just... Between this and the Stridor, Origins Stridor, I'm just so impressed with how they're improving on the vintage stuff. They really are. It's the same, but it's so much better in so many ways. Sure, it's not the exact same toy, but it is in your mind. I just can't see them getting any better than this. I believe that this is... For a while, people thought that Masters of the Universe Classics was the renaissance, the reemergence of Masters, and that just isn't the case. We've got so many different properties on the shelf at the store for Masters. It's just outlandish. We haven't seen anything like this since the 80s. Even the 2000X's series shelf presence wasn't this bad, this big. I mean, they had a lot of stuff for it, but you have Masterverse, you have Revelations, you have the Master Minis, you have the Origins line, you have Pops. All kinds of stuff is coming out, but these really take the cake. These just hit that right spot for the collector and for that nostalgia fix. Man, it's very rare that I get this excited and this happy with a toy product. I've collected thousands of toys in my life, and so many have come and so many have gone. And it's you get so accustomed and desensitized to the products because they could be different characters or different style, but at the end of the day, they just all feel the same in a way. But this Origins line and this Roton in particular, when I say this was one of my favorites, between this, the Bashosaurus, and Spidor. So I'm going to do something real quick. I do not have all the parts at my disposal, but I just want to give you an idea of the scale that Classics brought to the table. This is the Masters of the Universe Classics Roton. This thing is sick. It works the same way. It's missing that one thing though. Can you tell me what it is? That's the one flaw that I have with this machine. That clicking noise is so important to play. It's just so important. Just that invokes the imagination to be like, oh my gosh, it's a saw blade. This just makes a lot of noise. And it has like 4 wheels. And it's not even as sturdy. This is sturdy. This is so wobbly. So imbalanced. But I still love this machine. This is a great toy too. He might be a little dusty. He's been out for a while. I just want to just look at. Let me pull the camera back so you. He's literally twice the size and 3 times the plastic. He's a heavy boy. This guy is hefty, but not in the same way. I do want to try something though, since I've got the Modern Classics toy out. I don't have any of my Masters available, my Masters Classics available, but I do have my Super 7 Bombshell. I want to just see if he fits in the cockpit. Look at that. Look at that. Who would have thought you would ever have a Transformer character scaled with the Masters of the Universe Classics vehicle? So you can actually have a Transformer in a Masters vehicle now. That's crazy. I love that. And then again, let me grab I got Terraclaw Skeletor here too. He's got that thing on the back. I don't like that. And his arms, because of the action feature, his twist, actually, his I'm in the dance at the disco. I hope they do a disco Skeletor variant with that action feature. It makes it difficult for him to sit in it. He's a little bit closer to the front because of that peg, but he'll still fit in there, but he can't really grab the handles like he should. There you go. Double Rotons. I love it. I gotta say, hands down, of late, of the toys I've purchased, probably in the last 5 or 6 months, this Roton takes the cake. It's perfect. Almost perfect. It's not quite perfect. I want to say perfect, but it's not quite perfect. I don't like the gumminess of these guns. They should have been a harder plastic, and they should have just popped into place, and they would have been a lot better. But, man, it just has me hoping so much more for what Origins has left to offer. One thing I did not like that Masters did was when they did their classic style Titus and Megator, they were smaller than the vintage Titus and Megator. I'm hoping that if and when the Origins line gets to a Titus and Megator, that they are the exact same scale as the vintage ones with the Origins style articulation. I want swappable parts, modular arms and legs, and I want that level of posability. And I'll be very disappointed if they scale them down again, or if we just never get them. There were a lot of other giants too, but that's jumping way ahead. I'm just so excited. This toy just makes me so excited for what we have to look forward to with the Origins line. It's the one line I'm most excited to get figures for right now. And that's saying a lot, because I buy a lot of the Super 7 stuff. I buy stuff for NECA. I buy all these amazing looking figures. Their sculpts are amazing. Their paint apps are amazing. They're just things that you've always wanted as a kid. But always wanted as a kid doesn't equal what you had as a kid. You'll always harken back to those things that you loved, that you're most nostalgic for, that have the fondest memories. And it's probably one things that toy collectors are constantly on the chase for, is to just have that feeling that they had when they were a kid. It's really impossible to capture that. Like when you first got your first set of Ninja Turtles for Christmas or whatever. It's just nothing's gonna feel the same way as that. But this comes close. This brings a big smile to my face, and I'm so happy that I found it in the store. Finding stuff in the stores, it feels really exciting. I do pre-order most of my stuff online now because going toy hunting isn't quite available to me all the time. Like I said, I'm on vacation and I'm able to do it a lot on my vacations. But during the rest of the year, I really don't have time for that. And pre-ordering stuff is really all I can do. I had pre-ordered this Roton from Big Bad Toy Store, but I've noticed that the vehicles for the Origins line have been more readily available at retail than the actual figures. So I never had any problem finding a Panther or Battlecat or Stridor or the Wind Raider. And Roton seems to be the same. He's in stock at Walmart right now. And I'm just so happy to have gotten him. This has been a great review. I'm just so thrilled. It's been a really long review too. This is going to be my longest review yet. But I just cannot stop gushing over... I can't stop gushing over this. You probably won't see me as excited for a review until I actually open my Ecto 1 over there. Because that's another one I had as a kid and I played with to death. But anyway, I really appreciate everyone who's watched. It doesn't matter if it's one of you or 100,000. I don't care. I'm just so happy to share my hobby and my interest. And I hope you are able to enjoy my enjoyment too. $30, Walmart. If you want it, don't pass it up. You're not going to regret it. This is a this is a great toy. If you want to, get it for your kids. They'll love it just because of the noise. All right. Thank you so much. This has been You Are Supreme Toys. Thanks for watching.